Our This Week in XR podcast is sponsored by our friends at Zapper, the world's leading augmented reality platform and creative studio, with over 11 years of experience working with the world's biggest brands through Zapper Creative Studio. Zapper also has an award-winning web AR platform, ZapWorks, that lets you create your own mobile AR magic. Finally, check out their Zap Box, the most affordable mixed reality headset on the planet. Start creating AR over at zap.works or talk to them about your next AR project at zapper.com. Good morning, everyone. I'm Charlie Fink with Ted Schilowitz and Roni Abovitz for This Week in XR. It's May 19th, 2023. Good morning, gentlemen. Ted, you're looking pretty good.
Good morning. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm, getting back to fighting shape. I did 2 test the waters events in the real world with some modifications where I stayed away from people and had to wear this little sort of what I call Depression era breadboard sign that explained to people that they couldn't come too close to me, they couldn't hug me, no physical contact. But I did a thing with Google for the Infinity Fest yesterday for a couple hours, which was lovely, and then an AI conference in Hollywood, which of course is the topic du jour, Charlie, again. So,
well, I guess the topic du jour is the genie out of the bottle. I've got Stable Diffusion running here on my PC, completely untethered from the internet. God knows what's going on, in China and Russia. So it sort of seems like regulation would be a fool's errand at this point.
Guys, the atomic cows are out of the barn.
Yeah, I gave my philosophical comment yesterday in the hallowed halls of the Google Spruce Goose, where I said, look, it really comes down to it's a devil you know versus the devil you don't know situation, where a guy like Sam Altman, of course, now has a dog in the hunt that he needs to protect. So he's corralling the regulation concept around his version, which apparently he snookered Congress and a few key senators pretty good with this idea of we're going to self-regulate, and I just wasn't buying it.
It isn't too late. It's not too late to get it right, but I think the way they're going about it is not correct. I mean, there's a lot better way to do this, and this idea of like self-regulating is like having a bunch of kids in a frat house self-regulate their beer intake. That's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
So, the column is really long. We'll never get to everything in here, and it's kind of a mix of AI and our regular coverage of XR news. The top story in XR news, I guess, is that Samsung just bought Imagine for $18 million. I had never heard of Imagine before, he said, betraying his ignorance. Tell me something about this company and why Samsung.
Solid tech. Roni, you know a lot about it, right?
Yeah, I knew about them from actually before I even started Magic Leap. They've been around for a long time. They did some stuff, I believe, for military, early military HUDs. It's interesting technology. The price, I think, is part of what you're going to see, like companies grabbing tech ahead of the Apple launch. I think we talked about this, like Apple launching XR may be a nice injection of reboot into the whole system. And anything that's there to kind of shore up your defenses could be IP, could be people. I think you're going to see roll-ups happen. So this is ahead of that. And look, Samsung did not, as far as we know, it's not Samsung tech in the Apple XR. It's not the Samsung display. It's Sony. So that may be a real sting.
Yeah. Well, they made a statement in the release that they were anticipating a future devices that they are working on. So it makes sense for them. Of course, we don't know 1000% for sure that we're going to see the Apple headset on June 5th. It's a little weird. We'll have to ask Ori Inbar from AWE as our guest. I should have mentioned that at the top of the show. He's the co-founder and executive producer. So we'll have to ask him if he thinks that it's going to be kind of weird that WWDC is 5 days before AWE. Yeah. So that's kind of
Palmer Luckey tweeted about the Apple headset, so it must be real.
But did he or didn't he? Right?
So
because good. His tweet is so good. Which could he just be referring to looking at some proposed specs? Do you guys really think he's seen that hardware? Because I would kind of be pretty suspect about the fact that he's seen that hardware. And what's interesting to me is, okay, so now there's this theoretical date of June 5th. right? And there's, again, so much news swirl and so much people discussing it. And it'll be a really interesting sort of moment in time on, is that level of rumor and excitement what actually sort of sets the stage for, okay, it's happening? Or is it literally just a whole bunch of nothing, and Apple's going to do a nice WWDC and it's going to be all about, new hardware and new chipsets and new Mac sizes and new iPhone stuff, and lo and behold, here we go again, right?
Ted, I would not be surprised if nothing happens.
I would not be surprised if nothing happens.
Yikes. Yikes.
But I would be mildly surprised if it happened, because I think people are getting themselves hyped up. They're seeing shadows. They're building up shadow. I mean, at a much smaller level, we had this happen. And if you're in the middle of it, you just see the total nonsense that people are writing. And they're writing about nothing. And they're talking about nothing, which we are right now, too.
All right. Well, let's change to a subject that perhaps is a little bit more uplifting, or depending on who you are, amusing. The Star Wars Hotel is closing.
A sad day in LARPing.
Well,
I really wanted to go to it. Like, I was so looking forward to going to it once. Now it's like crushing my,
the problem is,
inner 5-year-old.
You're one of the few people that could afford to go to it and spend,
I don't even know. I'm not sure my family would be agreeing with you.
Well,
like, what are you doing?
A two-day LARP for normal people is going to be a bit much. Also, Disneyland, you take younger kids who want to see everything. You don't want to be trapped in Star Wars land for 2 days when you could just go see it in the park.
It really was for the super fan, right? I mean, $2,500 starting price per night. And, I think from my perspective, you guys all know what Secret Cinema is, right? And how well that worked. It's more egalitarian. It's more democratic. People can come in, doesn't cost a lot of money, and you celebrate your fandom. I think the challenge, even with a group like Disney that's so smart and they can put so much Imagineering energy in it, is to make something that exclusive is problematic for Disney. And I think they've kind of learned a lesson about it.
It was a pet project of Bob Chapek, who was a theme parks guy who became CEO for like a year before they tossed him. And so this was one of the projects that he was a big champion of. So it's not surprising, without that kind of a, top level executive support saying, yeah, go do something that you could fail at. That's okay.
I'd be willing to bet if they figured out a way to model it for $500 or $600 a night, and make it not so exclusive, it would probably be a thriving success. So, don't count them out. They may retool.
Look, the real question is there a market for something beyond casual cosplay or casual immersion, or is that really tiny?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because it's when you read about what the experience is, you're hanging out with Wookiees, you're wearing a uniform. I mean, you have to really, really buy it.
It's a nerd fest, Charlie.
You gotta really, really want it. Yeah.
So I don't think my kids would have gone along with that. Okay, here's a story that I love. I saw this device at CES, sworn to secrecy. It's from a new Tel Aviv-based company, driven by two former leapers. It's called Sightful, and the product is called the Space Top. So the Sightful Space Top does not have a monitor. Instead, it uses the Nreal Light AR glasses. So Roni, you and I have spoken about this. It sounds like this was a project, or very similar to a project that you were working on at Magic Leap.
I think for a number of reasons, Charlie, I'm basically going to say no comment, and I think this is messy. But you guys can chat about it.
And is it true, Charlie, it's really just the Nreal glasses and a software layer? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So you could have multiple screens and view spatial content. And I mean, it's the thing that we keep talking about, right? That's the monitor in your glasses, and you bring, you just have your smartphone and you can type with that, or bring a Bluetooth keyboard. And so we'd have a world of people sitting in Starbucks staring up into the air, typing on the table. But I think that's where we're going.
Look,
actually, one comment on that. So, sorry, really quick, Ted. I do think in some, let's say, Apple future, they do something. Apple Store 2030 is very likely you're picking up a wireless Bluetooth keyboard and your Apple XR, and that has probably replaced your iMac and all these other things. I really doubt this device is going to crack that, but I think late this decade, early 2030s, you're going to see an Apple, and then a Dell will copy them, and Microsoft will do its version. If you've played with stuff like this, which I think all three of us have, it's obviously the way forward, but it needs that next level of polish and refinement.
I will tell you the problem with the screen replacement, and we all saw this with the Meta headset, right? I don't know if you remember, the CEO made a statement that, by like the fall of 2018, everybody at the company would be using the headset instead of a regular PC, right? They'd have, in fact, those multiple screens. And I don't think even the people who worked there thought the tabs worked that badly.
Right.
So crowding up your field of view, I don't know about you guys. I have about 200 tabs open.
No, but look, if you got 4K solid, 4K or 6K solid displays of any size floating in your room with something like this big wireless that runs all day and a 110-degree field of view, and it was really like frictionless, yeah. But I don't think we're there right now. So everything that we're playing with right now is about hinting at that. And we all know it's going to happen, but you have to, I think if you don't get all the circuit right, I think I mentioned this before, I call it a win circuit. Like all the things on a circuit have got to go green for that thing to happen at scale. But we're pushing forward. We're making those steps there.
Yeah, your terminology is that, mine is the spit and polish, right? Is refining those rough edges. We, as the three of us as Apple aficionados, would say that Apple does that cleaning up the edges better than anybody else because they put more resources and more money into it and more time. And look, I've seen probably 12 different versions of virtual monitors, both in VR and MR. Conceptually, it's great, but no one has gotten it really to the point where I'd be even willing to think, oh, I'll use this instead of a number of monitors for productivity.
By the way, Charlie, they won't have it either yet. Right. I think it's going to take Apple 5 or 6 major, super big investment cycles to get to that point where someone like Charlie will be, I just don't need my MacBook anymore or whatever.
Well, yes, the MacBook and I spent a lot of time together. But I also don't, I don't like to write on my phone. I mean, I'm very idiosyncratic about the writing. So I think people are, it's going to be younger people and people who are just getting used to things that are going to gravitate to a solution like this. So even though I appreciate what it is, I don't know that I'm the audience. I'm the guy who interviews people in the audience.
There's the guy in the old...
Go on, sorry, Ted.
Says the guy in the old style.
Exactly. The old style sweatshirt.
Exactly.
Charlie, you're going to be flying to some conference 2028, 29, sitting on a plane with a Dell or a Microsoft or Apple little keyboard and having all your monitors floating around. I think that's probably going to be true, but give it
Baruch Hashem, I should be here in 5 years doing what I'm doing.
You're not like 98 years old. You still got a good half century, hopefully.
All right, baby. I love that kind of talk.
Okay.
So listen, we've got Ori Inbar here. He's the co-founder of AWE. Let me tell you, I have learned more from this man than I have from you two guys put together. When I first started covering XR in 2016, people said, this is the guy to call, right? He knows everyone and everything. And for the first year, or year and a half that I did this, I probably talked to Ori like once a month or once every other month. And he was so gracious and he's been such a good friend to me. And AWE, it's not the single topic conferences like Meta's or Google's. It's much more about everybody and everything. And so as a result, there's just a fantastic community built up around it. I know you're speaking there for probably the 10th time, Ted. I'm speaking there for probably the 6th or 7th time. I'm doing a fireside chat with Roni using some very, very cool remote conferencing technology. So like you, are you going to make it to AWE? I'm hoping you still are.
These tests this week were watershed test moments. The biggest challenge right now is the travel from LA up to Santa Clara because I'm not allowed to fly yet. So it requires a road trip, and I'm not.
You need somebody to ride with you. And
I'm not allowed to drive myself. So my buddy Elliot, who of course is likely going to be my road trip partner.
What a great guy.
And we'll
Ori, I was just singing your praises. How are you? And I see you've got your Augies in the background and different headsets from your museum.
Absolutely, it's good to see you all.
And I think, Ori, this is, we do this every year now, right? We do the advance of AWE This Week at XR visit where you tell us how exciting this is.
Yeah, it's called a curtain raiser.
Yeah.
Love it.
So year number 14 for AWE.
That's right. Can you believe it?
I mean, I think I started at number 6 or 7. So yeah, I think it's pretty incredible. And it looks like we're going to be back at full strength this year.
Absolutely. It's, I checked with Chat GPT what it would say is kind of an opening keynote, and it literally said, "Welcome to our biggest and best event yet," without knowing anything about it, right? And that's indeed the case. It's actually the biggest and best yet.
And you're giving away $100,000 for in an eco challenge to get an AR solution that helps with sustainability issues, right?
Climate change. That's right. It's a project we worked on for the whole year since we announced it last June, and I'm so happy and proud of the success of this project. I mean, it's not so much about the one winner that will go home with a $100,000 check, but we got 150 teams that have been spending their talent, their time, developing solutions using XR to fight climate change. And that by itself for me is a huge win.
Absolutely. So it's so interesting. So there'll be about 5,000 people at the conference. And
actually more. I mean, we were expecting 5,000. It's looking like we're going to be close to 6,000 this year. Wow. Which is incredible.
That is so awesome. And so, but 400 of them or 450 of them are actually speaking, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I say it's like a community event, right? Because it's being put on by the people there as much, AWE is just kind of organizing them.
That's right. I mean, listen, the speakers are kind of industry leaders that this is kind of an excuse to bring them in. And they kind of, are surrounded by people that just want to hear more and learn and get inspired. And, if every speaker brings like 10 or 15 people, that's, we got our number.
Well, I've done my best to bring in free people. And you guys have been great about it, because I understand that you're opening it up to people in the community who might have recently been laid off and giving them comps this year.
Oh, that's great.
Exactly. Yeah. That's been actually
very cool.
Successful projects just in the last few weeks. We got, I think, almost 100 people that were laid off that were just thank you.
Yeah.
And we have actually an XR job fair at the expo hall, so that will help kind of connect those who are looking to hire people. Yes, XR companies are still hiring despite what we may hear in the media. Well,
many people have said that all these layoffs ultimately will benefit the startup ecosystem in XR.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of new names coming out this year. In fact, I just counted. We have 135 startups at this event.
Wow.
Probably out of about 350 that got some funding in the last year around the world. So, you'll see a good chunk of all these startups in the funding showcasing their products.
I was just going to bring up the startup pitch competition, which is one of my favorite parts of AWE, because it's a speed pitch, right? So you hear like a dozen pitches in an hour. And of course, you feel for these guys because it's so hard to do it in 5 minutes. Yeah. And in the context of so many other interesting people and ideas. But you do get a great snapshot, as you were saying, Ori, about the industry and what people are thinking about and what they think is going to be important in the next few years.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's a project that we started probably over 10 years ago. And initially, it was really hard to find good startups to actually pitch. Today, we got about 100 submissions, and it was really hard to pick the best ones. And what's cool is that, it's really across the board. I mean, it's not just one kind. I mean, some year, like 2021, all the startups were about, we'll build the metaverse for you, right? Now it's really a wide variety of solutions from tools to applications across various verticals. A lot of women leaders, actually not as much as we want, but a nice number that we're able to get. And we also help them, we kind of mentor it. We connect them with mentors, with investors that, by the way, are all getting a free pass to the event just so that they come in and really help those startups. and eventually I think the pitches come out pretty well. So it's an intense hour and a half or so with I think this year we have about 14 startups pitching.
Ori, is there anything this year that you're particularly excited about? Any debuts? Anything that you would call out to the listeners here that are like, there's some cool stuff that's going to happen at AWE this year. You need to be paying attention to this. Is there anything that is particularly motivating for you?
It's a question you ask me every year, and every year I have the same answer, which is, they're all my babies. I love them all.
Yes.
But I think the metaphor I'll use for this year is that it's like everything, everywhere, all at once is kind of the experience that we'll see at AWE this year. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool stuff. I mean, you still have like about 130 exhibitors that are focused on enterprise, and like 30 or 40 on collaboration, and lots of gaming and entertainment companies. A lot of I think there's like 40 eyewear companies that will be exhibiting. So much innovation, both on end result, eyewear, but also components for eyewear, displays, OLEDs, all these kind of things. There's a new entrant that is coming out in a big way this year. That's Sightful.
We were just talking about that. I think there's going to be a line to try that thing at AWE.
Absolutely. It's kind of when they pitched me their product last year, it was like, you're gonna be disappointed. That's how it started, and I was like, you never start a pitch like that, right? But I mean, the idea is that it's kind of they can. I mean, it's founders. The founders are from Magic Leap, which I'm sure Ronnie knows. And
he zipped his lips when we started talking about it.
Ori, I can't talk about anything about those guys or the company, so I'm just biting my tongue really hard. At some point, you're going to learn more, but I keep talking. I don't want to ruin that moment. But yes, they worked for us. That's all I could say.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they're working with Nreal, which is Magic Leap's favorite other company. So,
which is rebranding to X-Real. So get ready to say.
I think that's a very good move, by the way. Nreal makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it was supposed to be like Unreal with just an N, but it's very confusing.
Well, it was like, let's take the name Unreal and piss off Tim.
Yeah,
Sweeney,
exactly.
And let's use the Magic Leap font and other things I won't talk about. I can't talk about.
We have to stop you there. Let me pivot.
By the way, Ori, I love the industry. The part I don't love is if you work somewhere, you anyway. I won't
stop.
go
Stop.
past that.
Stop.
Stop. I'm stopping. I'm stopping.
Stop. The sitting behind Ori on the shelf, I count 6 Augie Awards. So the Augie Awards, another fun tradition at AWE, but also very serious awards, and people benefit from them in their visibility in the community. They're also cool looking in a weird, cheap kind of way.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're very creative. I think if it's on your shelf in your office, almost everybody who hasn't seen it is going to gravitate to it. So
didn't our friend Jerry at Tilt
Jerry
5
won last year,
right? And that's a big deal for her, and they are making great progress as a company.
Or you help validate a lot of people's work in the industry. It really became, now it's a thing people aspire to. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I think finally, after 14 years, people actually aspire for that. But yeah, like you said, it's a way to recognize the best and the brightest in the industry. And we started with just one category, which was like, do a live demo on stage, see if you survive, you'll get a prize. And today, this year, we'll have 16 categories, which is really kind of covering almost every aspect. And we keep kind of adding more categories. This year, one of the categories is actually sponsored by Qualcomm. It's a Snapdragon Spaces app. So that's cool to see. And of course, there's another startup to watch. And we mentioned the focus on climate change, the XR Prize, which will be also announced this year with a literal big check that will bring.
When is that going to happen?
This is during the Augie Awards on June 1st,
okay.
7 p.m. on main stage.
Charlie, can I ask Ori a kooky question? But Ori, why do you like this field? Why did you do all of this?
I can't help it. That's the answer. It's I think, of course, I got infatuated with VR in the early 90s, but in 2007, I don't know, I had this epiphany and I discovered mostly AR, and then a bit later also how it connects with VR. And it was like, this is going to change how we interact with the world for the better. It will make us more aware of what's happening around us, more engaged with anything we do, more in the now. Unlike what people think with digital information taking us away from reality. So this is actually strengthening reality, and I felt like this is a mission for life. Something we can help bring to everyone. And 14 years later, I think we made huge progress in the industry, but there's still a long way to go. Easily another decade until it's becoming boring. So it's still very exciting for me.
So do you think we'll hear a lot about AI at the show?
Oh, yeah. How can you not, right? I mean, quick hint, opening keynote will have an AI-based Ori hologram. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be everywhere. And because, first of all, it's not just in the context of AI for AI's sake, but for improving XR experiences, right? I mean, content creation is becoming so much easier, so much more available to people. And it's also making XR more accurate, better in many ways. So I think you'll see it in a lot of sessions. There are some dedicated sessions for that and panels, but it's going to be everywhere.
And one thing we were talking about just before you came on, in fact, I don't know if you heard us mention this in the green room, but it's, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, where they're expected to unveil their XR device, happens 4 days after AWE. So do you think people will be talking about that as well?
That's another rhetoric question, right? I think that's going to be the underlying topic in every discussion.
How the hell have they kept this secret this long? I can't believe it. It's even beyond what Magic Leap did.
Because they're Apple.
I mean, it's just thousands of people have seen it. You're telling me there's not one blabbermouth, not one person takes a cell phone photo of it?
Or there's nothing there, Charlie, like the car. I mean, everyone was talking about the Apple car shipping, and who knows what's going on.
Well, this is a theme, right? Because we could all be, could be another Lucy with the football moment where it's like, oh, go ahead and run and kick Charlie Brown. Oops, sorry, changed my mind.
Let me ask Ori this question. Sorry, go on,
Ori. A secret in the sense that, Apple started working on AR in 2010. All right. And then made, a bunch of acquisitions. They came out, probably with one of the best AR platforms out there in 2017, with ARKit. And the most AR apps are running on the iPhone, and they're also making the most money in the industry. So now it's just a matter of taking that and making it on your putting it on your face. The whole kind of video
no big deal.
Is kind of confusing, but it's exactly the same experience that you have on your iPhone, just on your face. So all the work, all the tools, all the developers and creators that are working on it are now almost ready to run it on the glasses. So I think, no doubt, it's going to be a game changer. Whether it's going to be a successful product for Apple, who knows, right? But it's definitely going to make a big impact.
Regardless if they ship or not, or ever ship anything, when do you think we have the moment that we have 1 billion users of AR, VR, all in, all devices, all companies? How far away is that in your view?
So, I mean, I stopped predicting the future because I suck at it. I mean,
no one's holding you accountable to any. This is just Ori's guess. It's early Friday morning. In
2014, I put together a report about smart glasses, and I predicted that we'll cross the 1 billion smart glasses, not just AR, in the early 2020s. We're there right now. We're pretty far from that. But I think in terms of users, we've crossed the 1 billion users. I mean,
On the phone, yeah, on the phone.
are they active on a daily basis? No, but
Well, unless you look at, you know, Snap as a camera first company, and you know they got 750 million monthly uniques. So Snap, whatever you have to
Right.
say about their business model, is not hurting for users.
I mean, I think Snap definitely counts as AR. There's also, you know, the Niantic games, which, you know, have crossed the 500 million users. There's
The Pokemon Go game, yeah.
and also the new Parallel game. It's actually really cool. I don't know if you guys tried it, but it's really kind of
Yeah, we were
taken to the
we were
next level.
talking about it last week. I've been playing with my Peridot and foraging in the bushes for food for it.
Yeah, and then, you know, shopping, like, try before you buy. We have, you know, there's probably 500 million people using it on a weekly basis for anything from, you know, makeup to glasses to furniture and so on. And it's getting into every aspect of e-commerce and advertising. So I think, you know, we're definitely there in terms of the 1 billion mark. Now it's a matter of, let's get people to use it all the time. That's the next challenge, which, you know, that's the next decade.
True enough, that is a theme we hit almost every week. Ori, it was great. It was great to see you. Have we neglected to mention anything else about AWE to get people excited and come and join us in Santa Clara?
Oh man, there's a lot of cool stuff. The playground is going to be awesome. There's, I mean, probably 18 amazing experiences, from workout to VR shoes to art, music, social impact. Jacques Cousteau's foundation will be there. But maybe
Lucas Risotto's new company will be there.
In the playground, no.
No, at AWE.
I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah. No, he's going to be there. I think that's a great company. They were at South by Southwest. You know, they're targeting people who are laying down.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know why nobody ever thought of this, but only an artist like Lucas could take that and turn it into something unexpected.
It's a cool idea. Yeah.
I can't
I
wait
was
to
gonna
see
say
what happens.
the exit suit. Have you guys heard about the exit suit?
Exit suit.
It's a suit that allows you to fly, and I mean, it's this incredible construction that you wear, and you can do like amazing things, mostly for VR. I can't wait to see that. That looks.
That's going to be in the playground.
Yes, that's pretty awesome.
So I'm sorry, that's a haptic suit that you wear while you do certain things.
It's more than haptics. It's like, actually, you know, the mechs in Rainbow's End by Werner Vinci.
Yeah,
I think it's in that direction. All right, it's crazy.
That's the thing to try then.
Yeah.
Ted,
Ori-
you can't do that. Ted, you're not allowed to do that.
I know. And Ori, Roni, and Charlie, here's what I will say about AWE. And Charlie, I think you know this well. For anybody that has either a passing interest, a mild interest, or a strong, overwhelming interest in this field, just in general, this is the social event of the year for people like us. Yes, it's important to have all the booths and have all the stage presentations, but more than anything, it is that social connectivity of people that care about the same thing and are all driving towards something. And this is the yearly gathering that people meet up, talk about things, propel the industry forward into next year. So I, of course, you know, because of my health stuff, I'm crossing my fingers that I'll be able to be there in person, because if I can't, this is the massive FOMO of all FOMOs, because Charlie will be like every 5 minutes, you missed this. I'm like, damn, you know. So
You're absolutely right, Ted.
very much hoping.
I mean, we're doing, at the end of the day, everything else is an excuse just to meet our best 5,000 friends,
Right.
colleagues.
And it matters a lot. It matters to this group of people, because
Yeah.
you know, we all struggle in our own ways to move something forward. Roni, you more than maybe anybody on the planet have had the struggle of moving a boulder up to the mountain and knowing how hard that is. And essentially everybody that attends that is trying to push some sort of rock somewhere.
It's
know?
easier when 5,000 or 6,000 others are also pushing it up the hill.
Yeah, it just feels like you're onto something here, right? So yeah,
That's the reason we started it all. You know, I had like an AR startup, and I felt so lonely.
Mhm.
I have to get together with a few more folks, and 300 people first year. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's taking a lot longer than anybody anticipated, as you said, Ori. So supporting each other, especially when you feel like there's a lull and things aren't happening fast enough, and seeing the belief and the passion in others, is inspiring and re-energizes you. That's always been my experience, and just sort of bathing in the soup. It's a little like CES in that respect, because you see trends and you see, you're able to see everything in one place. And when I leave, I am exhausted.
That's the goal. Yeah. I mean, I think that because it's so hard and it's taking so long, there's a bond that you see in this industry that you don't see in other places. I mean, other industries, you see so much infighting and hate, and here it's like, let's work on it together. Let's make it work. And that's really special and unique about this industry.
That is a great place for us to end the show this week. Hopefully we'll see everybody at AWE. Starts May 31st through June 2nd at the Santa Clara Convention Center in Silicon Valley. So be there, say hi, and we'll see everybody next Friday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys.